Welcome to STAR Campus at the University of Delaware.
We are graduate students in the Communication Sciences and Disorders program.
And today, we're going to be taking you on a tour in the common areas, research labs, and study areas so you can know what it feels like to be a student here at the University of Delaware in the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders.
The first stop on our tour is Star Tower, which is a symbol of our ambition for healthcare in the state of Delaware and across the country.
Star Tower is an integral part of the College of Health Sciences mission to train you, the next generation of speech-language pathologists, in a collaborative and inclusive learning environment.
The teachings and research will help guide the clinical practice into our speech-language hearing clinic.
We are a top-ranked program, and we offer 3 programs: a master's program, an extended master's program, and a PhD program.
Welcome to the 5th floor at the tower at STAR, which houses numerous research labs investigating the speech, language, and hearing sciences. We'll have a number of faculty members introduce themselves and their work in their labs that's associated with their research programs. Let's begin with me. My name is Dr. Evan Usler, and we're in the Interpersonal Neurophysiology Lab, where we study things like how do people learn to speak fluently? How do motor, language, and cognitive factors interact for me to tell you what I want to tell you here today? We use things like EEG and fMRI to study how the brain does that. I work with another faculty member, Dr. Ho-Ming Chow, in what we call the Delaware Stuttering Project, which is a research program to better understand why some young children develop speech disfluency, while some kids do not.
Hi, I'm Dr. Matthew Cohen, Associate Professor and Associate Director of the Delaware Center for Cognitive Aging Research. I'm here to tell you about 2 labs in our department related to adult neurogenic communication disorders. The first lab, called the Aphasia and Rehabilitation Outcomes Lab, or ARO Lab, is directed by Rebecca Hunting-Pompon, and they study aphasia, which is an acquired language impairment, sometimes that follows stroke. The second lab, called the Resilient Cognitive Aging Lab, directed by me and my colleague Dr. Alyssa Lanzi, studies Alzheimer's disease and related causes of dementia, with a particular emphasis on prevention, early detection, and early intervention. Examples of projects include studying discourse as a potential early biomarker for Alzheimer's disease, maybe even preceding detectable cognitive impairment, and studying a new cognitive rehabilitation approach for people with early manifestations of Alzheimer's disease.
Hi, I am Dr. Giovanna Marini, and I run the Speech Language Acquisition and Multilingualism Lab. So in my lab, we study how young children acquire language skills, and we're very interested in comparing how monolingual children and bilingual children learn language. Since we work with young infants and toddlers who sometimes cannot talk yet, we use things like eye tracking and head movements to help us measure what children know about their language early on in life. Welcome to the Memory and Perception of Speech Lab, directed by Dr. Sayako Earl. Here, they study how your language experience shapes how you perceive speech sounds. They use behavioral and neuroimaging techniques such as ERPs to study how different individuals process speech sounds, and also how different everyday activities such as sleep can help you improve your memory for how you are remembering speech and words, and also how you can improve your language skills.
Hi, I'm Dr. Amanda Owen Van Horn. I direct the Treatment Efficacy and Language Learning Lab. In the TEL Lab, we study children with developmental language disorder, or DLD. These kids are kids who have difficulty learning and using language with no obvious contributing cause. These kids have difficulty learning to say sentences like, "I wonder why the microscope worked," because they have trouble putting sentences together to be grammatical. These sentences are super important because they are a big part of learning to succeed academically. They make up about 30% of the textbooks and teacher talk that children hear.
Welcome to our kitchen area, which is a popular place for people to come, have a cup of coffee, eat their lunch, or just relax. Next to our kitchen is our copy room, where you can make copies of things, and also lockers for your personal items. Welcome to room 513. It's here where you may spend most of your time with us in the department, as it's here where you'll take most of your courses. Not only does it have a good view, but we have an impressive AV system where we present lectures, PowerPoint, slides, videos, etc. The Voice and Motor Learning Lab, led by Dr. Kitty Vertolini, uses cutting-edge equipment to investigate, assess, and treat voice and resonance disorders, as well as just better understand how motor learning happens for for Speech and Voice.
So here we are on our 4th floor of the tower. In clinical education, students can receive 75 hours under the kind of category of simulation. A very big part of the clinical experiences that students will participate in is healthcare theater. So we have a very unique opportunity here at University of Delaware to practice your skill set with trained actors, and that's what healthcare theater is. So students will have the opportunity to practice a lot of different things. Like, for example, you might complete a motor speech evaluation or a clinical swallow evaluation, and have the opportunity to practice on a real human being. Clinical simulation and working with healthcare theater has really helped to bridge the gap between classroom knowledge and learning and then, clinical skills and application. Welcome to the University of Delaware Speech Language Hearing Clinic. We are very fortunate that our clinic is one that has more of a real life experience and that we accept Medicare, Medicaid, private insurance, private payers. And it really does give our students, I think, a leg up in understanding what things are going to be like when they actually graduate and start working as a speech language pathologist. Our students feel very, I think, comforted and very competent in the fact that they know that they're providing evidence-based practice to our patients at all times.
This is an example of one of the rooms in our clinic. Our students have a great opportunity here to work with clinical educators from diverse backgrounds and with a wide variety of clinical experiences. Students are paired with the clinical educator. They have the opportunity to meet with them before sessions. They're with them 100% of the time during sessions, whether that's in person or telepractice. And then afterwards, they debrief with their clinical educators, talk about how the session went, how the patient did, and how they might change things moving forward.
Not only are our students assigned to a patient in the speech language hearing clinic, they're also assigned to a life participation group.
Our life participation groups really are kind of a cross between support groups and education groups. Like, they were created by very passionate clinical educators and a lot of times in conjunction with students to further serve members of the community. And we have a great variety of life participation groups that students can participate in. So some examples are NeuroNotes, which is a choir for individuals with Parkinson's disease and other acquired neurological conditions. We have PEEPS, which is an improv group for individuals with autism. We have various groups for folks with aphasia. So a lot of our life participation groups meet here on campus. Some meet on Zoom, and then some meet in the community. And this is really dual purpose because it both serves the community and gives students a really unique clinical opportunity and experience working with patients from a wide variety of diagnoses and disorders.
Thank you for your time in attending this quick tour of the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders at UD. One of our goals is to meet the growing demand for specialists in the speech, language, and hearing sciences. Our graduate students, whether they're in the traditional track or extended track of the master's program or in a PhD program, are being trained to be leaders in this field and to assist those members of our society who are most underserved and vulnerable. Thanks again.